Hello there, Captains. Kato Genesis here, bringing you another guide to Starfield, this time going over the 10 Nova Galactic Manuals that you can find throughout the game. Instead of multiple different effects, this is another set that has a cumulative single bonus. Each time you pick up a Nova Galactic Manual, it will permanently reduce the fuel needed for a grav jump by 1%, with a maximum bonus of 10%. Since how collectibles work in Starfield have been all over the place, the first 5 entries will be the magazines that are in set locations or places you can just go to, and entries 6 through 10 will be the magazines that are in procedural points of interest, including one POI that only spawns once per playthrough, so that's fun. Regardless, I'll include some tips and tricks in between these sections to help narrow down your search with these points of interest. So let's go get those Nova Galactic Manuals. The first of the Nova Galactic magazines we go for is Nova Galactic Manual 03. This one is found in New Atlantis on Jemison in the Alpha Centauri system. And more specifically, this is inside the Mast building in the Mast district, the easiest landmark to locate from just about anywhere in the city. Once you find the Mast building, either through the NAT system or just from the front entrance of the Mast building, go ahead and take the lift to the Administrative Division, or the Interstellar Affairs floor. After exiting the elevator, you'll want to take the hardest of lefts, pretty much a U-turn in fact, into the offices here. Straight back into the office of Deputy Elizabeth McIntyre, whom you'll be familiar with if you're doing the UC Vanguard quests anyway. You'll find Nova Galactic Manual 03 on the table in this office. The second Nova Galactic Manual we're going for is Nova Galactic Manual 02. Making the most sense, this is located inside the Nova Galactic Star Yard that is orbiting Luna in the Sol system, Luna being the moon of our very own Earth. You can come here on your first field mission with Sarah, but you can also come here at any time without the need for a quest. Either way, when you get into the main walkways of the Nova Galactic Star Yard, it doesn't take long till the path comes to a T-intersection, with the conference room straight ahead. You want to take a left here, provided you're still seeking the magazine, and head towards the control room. Once in the control room, there will be a stairway up on your left. Go up those, and then you'll find the following stairs into the workroom. There's then a long hallway that you can follow to your right, and here in this office overlooking the ship under construction, you should find the Nova Galactic Manual on the corner-shaped desk piece, just in front of the quite uncomfortable-looking wood-backed chair. The third Nova Galactic Manual we're going for is Nova Galactic Manual 10, and this one is located on the Almagest station orbiting Nesoi in the Olympus system. This one is the zero-gravity casino. Once you have docked and made your way inside, you can float your way down the main beautifully lit corridor that splits and then converges into a spot that you can drop down a little bit into the bar of the casino. While facing the bar, you'll want to turn to your left where you'll see a vault door on the far wall, purely decorative, I think, and go that direction until the ceiling opens up again, and head up to the next floor, which looks to be the security floor. In the quite secure security room, minus the open door, where you'll find multiple wall safes as well as the end chest, floating next to the terminal in here, and immovable when it comes to physics, should be the Nova Galactic Manual 10. The fourth we go for is Nova Galactic Manual 06. This one is in another star station known as the Autonomous Star Yard that is orbiting Voli Psi in the Voli system, the same system we find Neon. Traveling through this dungeon does take some time, but there is quite a lot to see and experience, and due to its linearity, I don't want to spoil a lot of it for you because it is kind of fun. Maybe a fun dungeon, a fungeon, if you will. So forgive me for assuming you know how to follow a straight line. But once you've explored the Star Yard up until you find the shooting range, the room right next to it having the all too familiar end of dungeon chest, you'll want to take the following stairwell, and the following stairwell after that, and you should end up in a break room of sorts. And you should spot Nova Galactic Manual 06 on top of these blue and white cupboards. Fifth of the Nova Galactic Manuals to go for is Nova Galactic Manual 01. Why is this not the first one? Well, because it happens to be quest locked behind Sarah Morgan's In Memoriam companion quest. This quest, of course, appears after you spend enough time with Sarah Morgan getting to know her better and getting to know her regrets as a former commander. When this quest begins, you will first go to the Mast building in New Atlantis to speak to Admiral Logan to find out the location of where her crashed ship is, and that would be Cassiopeia 1 in the Eta Cassiopeia system. Travel there and land on the ship marker that is now provided to you through this quest, and then you can simply walk down the hill to the crashed escape shuttle, enter it, and Nova Galactic Manual 01 should be sitting on top of a white electronic case directly ahead of you. This quest does eventually take you to another crash site where you can find a constellation guide too. Before we get into the next 5 magazines, I want to go over some tips and tricks I have for the procedural points of interest in the game, because that's where the next 5 magazines are located. Firstly, these are the map icons we're going to be looking for. I've learned that just having this information is pretty helpful. Second, when you bring up the map of a solar system that has worlds on it that you haven't been to before, some of them will have 3 little dots on them. These are procedural points of interest that are pre-generated for that world, as opposed to discovering them after you land. This will save you at least a couple loading screens. Third, and the most time-consuming method that we'll probably all use at least once, is the takeoff and land method. That's simply landing on a world where you think these icons will show up, scanning all of them, if one of them matches, going and checking it out. If not, just taking off and landing again. Fourth, these magazines are in static locations within these points of interest, which means you can get duplicates of the next 5 we're going to talk about. And that also means if you found one of these points of interest previously and you're kicking yourself for not remembering, don't worry, you find another one, there will be another magazine there too. And in case you're wondering if you're doing all of this in a single playthrough, picking up duplicates of the same magazine won't rank up the effect. Unless you're New Game Plus, but we don't have time to get into that. So I hope these methods that I use to find these magazines also help you as well. So let's go for those last 5 Nova Galactic Manuals, and we'll start with the one that shows up at a procedural point of interest that seemingly only spawns once per playthrough. That is Nova Galactic Manual 05, and it shows up at the abandoned Griplight manufacturing plant. And when scanning for it, this uses the mine location icon. For this one, I'll try to be more specific on how I got it to show up, simply because it took me hours to get it to show up. So first things first, you're looking for sandy desert biomes. If the world you're on doesn't have those, you're not going to get this location. I found mine on planet Arachna in the Delta Pavonis system. This was, of course, after hours of searching multiple worlds and multiple sandy desert biomes. Once you've landed in a sandy desert biome, what you're looking for from a distance are 2 big red hexagonal habs and a large circular landing pad with a rocky cliff on one side and a dune on the other, kind of obscuring your view to begin with. But the directional antenna coming off of the 2-story hab is what I saw first myself. Seemingly, the only reason why this only spawns once is because there is a mission attached to it that triggers when you're within a certain proximity, 250 to 300 meters, called Unusual SOS. So that is what you're looking for. Now, once you do find the location, the big red hab with the directional antenna on top is where the magazine is. And if you head inside the main airlock, take a left up the stairs to the 2nd floor, and head into the doorway on your right, you should hopefully find Nova Galactic Manual 05 on top of these cabinets next to a big puddle of definitely ketchup. The 7th magazine we're going to pick up is Nova Galactic Manual 04. This one is located at the point of interest known as the Deserted Freestar Collective Garrison. Not only is that a bunch of syllables for a single location name, but also the location itself is pretty large, and easy enough to spot in mountain biomes where there is a human presence. Once you find these 2 plateau formations, there will be a path that leads up in between them to a lift that will take you up to the centralized landing platform, surrounded by 3 separate structures. So, from the elevator, taking the walkway straight ahead to the landing platform, off to the left will be the smaller hab that is the crew quarters or the barracks of this base. Walk inside, and towards the back will be a lounge area with a screen on the right wall, and in the center of this lounge area on the silver table should be Nova Galactic Manual 04. The 8th magazine to tackle is Nova Galactic Manual 07, and this manual spawns at the abandoned maintenance bay. And this location is quite boxy indeed, with a cluster of habs in the center of the platform, with large entrances on both sides built into the hillside, and a square landing pad off to the side as well. The quickest route to this magazine will be through the left door out of the 2 options we have, which takes us to the subsurface garage. Once we go in and descend the ramp, we then take the first door on the right, go up the flight of stairs, and take this next door on the immediate right as well. This should put you in an office/waiting room, and on the round table in here, in between the chairs made for waiting, probably, should be Nova Galactic Manual 07. And if you're a weird space succulent collector, there's one of those here too. 9th of the Nova Galactic Manuals we're going for is Nova Galactic Manual 08. This one shows up in the point of interest known as Abandoned Shipping Depot. And thanks to the massive dish on the top of this building, it shouldn't be too difficult to spot from, I don't know, 1,000 meters away. provided the ground is fairly level too. The rest of the structure is multiple metallic habs stacked on top of each other, with a big metal support out by the landing pad that is square, and a broken cargo elevator sitting underneath it. In fact, near that broken cargo elevator is our entry point to find the magazine here. So if you head into this pressure-locked door and go straight ahead to the following double doors, there will then be a stairway that goes up to the right, leading straight into an office, and Nova Galactic Manual 08 should be sitting upon the desk right under the reading lamp. 10th we go for is Nova Galactic Manual 09. This is found in the point of interest known as the Abandoned Deimos Scrapyard. This one is a structure almost fully contained into a circular landing pad, with what looks like a half-dismantled ship in the middle, surrounded by multiple raised platform houses. There's a couple smaller surrounding structures, but this one's wacky enough we'll probably know when you see it from a distance. Interestingly enough, without airlocks, which implies that this needs oxygen in the atmosphere to spawn. When looking for this magazine, using the ship's cockpit as a guide, it is actually pointing to where you need to go to get this magazine. So take the lift that gives a great view of the ship on your way up, and up to this living space here. You can then step off the elevator and take the first door on your left, and in here on the coffee table you should find Nova Galactic Manual 09. So tell me, aside from Manual 05, which one of these took you the longest to find? Was it worth the lowered fuel costs for grav jumping, or just to complete your collection? Speaking of, if you're looking to collect all of the magazines, I intend on doing guides on all of them, and you can find links to those in the description of this video, as well as the end card here, which also includes a tips and tricks that I did, and a New Game Plus quick start guide. If you found this useful, entertaining, or both, please do whatever you see fit to show that. Among the ways you can is by supporting on Patreon like the amazing people on screen now, including but not limited to Wasteland Legends, Sven, and Rose. Thank you so very much for watching. I am Kato Genesis, and I hope to see you among the stars.